Well, on the 30th of November, the planet Venus will change its sign and it will enter the Libra sign. And then Jupiter, which is in the Aries sign, is gonna aspect the planet Venus. Jupiter will throw its 7th aspect on the planet Venus. Venus is all about relationships, luxury, comforts, pleasures, addictions, creativity, love, women and wife. These two planets, Venus and the planet Jupiter, are inimical to each other. They are hostile to each other. They are unfriendly to each other. So this aspect of Jupiter on the planet Venus is gonna create some confusion in your life. Confusion in your relationships, animosity and acrimony in your relationships. Your relationships are gonna hurt you at this point in time. Your relationships are gonna give you emotional pain at this point in time. Those relationships which can give you emotional pain at this juncture could be a friend, could be your spouse, could be your family members at this juncture. You could also experience emotional pain in that romantic relationship. And you might feel insulted at this point in time, and you might not be able to bear this insult, this emotional pain at this juncture when Jupiter aspects the planet Venus. Well, emotional pain is a complex and subjective experience, and the intensity of the emotional pain varies from person to person. And this emotional pain stems from various sources, including personal loss, disappointments, failures, relationship issues, trauma, and internal struggles. Unlike physical pain, which is more tangible and measurable, emotional pain is deeply felt and is sometimes invisible to the human existence. So at this point in time, you are gonna experience some emotional pain from your loved ones, near or dear ones, from your friends, in your relationships, your family relationships. Your romantic relationships can also give you some trauma, some emotional pain at this juncture. These relationships may denigrate you at this point in time. They may belittle you at this point in time. They may try to hurt you at this point in time emotionally. And you could experience an emotional outburst at this point in time because of these relationships hurting you at this point in time very profoundly. You could also lose a relationship permanently at this point in time. I mean, you could lose a friend, a family member, your loved one, your near or dear one, or your romantic partner permanently at this juncture. But it could be that this emotional pain is very temporary in your life, and you might recover from this emotional pain once Venus moves into the Scorpio sign. But don't be in a mood to take revenge at this point in time. I mean, against those people who hurt you at this point in time. The person who hurt you didn't get away clean. You'd start thinking at this point in time that you are the person who's got hurt because you are in that pit. But the person who threw you in that pit has to live with that guilt that you never did a thing to hurt them. So don't even think of taking a revenge. Just because they hurt you, that doesn't mean you are gonna hurt them as well. Just because they are giving you that emotional pain, that doesn't mean you are gonna respond in a similar way. Well, I'd say that you need to leave this revenge to God. God is just to let them get away from any suffering. You have to understand that God is a just God. God is a great equalizer. God is gonna make sure that He does justice to you. So leave that revenge to God. Just remember that revenge belongs to God. You shouldn't be in a mood to take revenge from those people who hurt you at this point in time when Jupiter aspects the planet Venus. Well, you mess up when you try to get even. You need to step back and let God get even. God can get even better than you can. So at this juncture, don't even think of taking revenge. Don't treat them the same way as they treat you at this juncture. And in a relationship, just because they love you, that doesn't mean you will feel loved. Love is an action. Love is a verb. It's not just enough to say that you love a particular person. You'll need to do the work to make sure that you show your love to your relationships. Well, if someone loves you, then they will do the work and they will make you feel that you are loved. They will try to show their love to you by working on that relationship, by taking action, by doing something for you which will make you feel loved. And if you are walking on eggshells in that relationship, I mean if you are extremely careful around someone in that relationship so as not to upset them, then you should stop walking on eggshells at this point in time. You need to be upfront, as forthright as possible in your relationships. You need to be candid and you need to speak your mind in front of them. You shouldn't keep tiptoeing around those relationships just because that person is easily offended or they are emotionally immature. Well, staying quiet and tiptoeing around that relationship, walking on eggshells so that you don't upset the other person is not a strategy in any relationship. If you are doing this, if you are trying to be very cautious and circumspect in that relationship, that means that the dynamic in that relationship is already broken. So here's what I want you to try. Instead of tiptoeing around the issues or not expressing how you feel or not asking for what you need, I want you to take a deep breath and think. And tell yourself that I'm gonna let them be disappointed, upset, angry or whatever. And I'm gonna show up as myself, normally as I am in that relationship. I'm going to ask for what I need from them. And then I'm gonna let them have their reaction because I'm not responsible for that reaction. I mean, you are not responsible for that reaction of theirs. Well, if you cannot be upfront, if you cannot share your feelings with others in that relationship, then what is the use of that relationship? Well, when you stop walking on eggshells, being too cautious and circumspect in that relationship, when you do this, you'll discover the relationships that are strong enough to handle you. Relationships that can handle your truth, your real self. And that's just a beautiful thing. So at this point in time, you must be careful in your relationships and you mustn't hold yourself back in those relationships from speaking your mind to them, which are giving you emotional pain. If you need to tell them something at this juncture, you must tell them. You shouldn't keep those things in your heart. Well, this is all I wanted to tell you all about Jupiter aspecting the planet Venus from the 30th of November 2023. And here I want to end my video. Jai Mata Di, Jai Ma Kali.